Have you ever wondered why electricity bills are so high? What can the average individual do to reduce their power consumption? Let's dive into these questions and explore some possible solutions on today's show. Hello everyone, and welcome to another inspiring, but I promise you, informative episode of the Moment Show with Pastor Funke. I'm so happy to have our studio audience with us. Studio audience, welcome. Thank you. You are all amazing, and thank you for joining us. And as also our online viewers, thank you for joining us on today's show. I know you're doing well. Now, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, recently gave the green light for an increase in the electricity rate for all distribution companies in the country. This has resulted in increased electricity bills paid by households for the same power consumed by about 130% in some areas, with resultant effects on most families and businesses. I mean, right, really huge, right? My question is, what options are there for people who can't afford this high cost of electricity? What alternatives do they have? Let's explore some solutions for those in need of more affordable energy options. Now, CESI, Centro Electrotecnico Sperimentale Italiano, has been an important player in testing, certification of electromechanical equipment and electrical power system studies, offering its services to electrical utilities, electromechanical and electronic manufacturers, and large-scale users of electric power. The company has enlarged its field of activities, covering all sectors in the electro-energy fields, from generation to transmission, distribution, and end use of electricity, as well as environment and renewable energies. My guest today on today's show is Dr. Andrea Castellani, CSI's team leader in Nigeria and also the National EMS/SCADA project in Nigeria. He has more than 30 years of international experience in project management on telecom and SCADA system. Studio audience, please make welcome my guest, Dr. Andrea Castellano. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you to you.
Thank you for coming. You're welcome to the Moment Show.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, Andrea, I wanted to get into this whole issue of power by sharing what I saw on TikTok. It must have been maybe last year. Now, there is a Nigerian who did this, played a prank, actually, on the British gas company in the UK. And he had called in to the company to say they should turn off his gas. It was in the middle of winter. And he said, turn off my gas. And the lady was like, no, no, no. So he's recording their conversation. He says, no, I don't want the gas anymore because the gas rate had not just gone up in Nigeria, it had gone up in the UK. And it was very funny and hilarious because he then told the lady that he did not want to have gas. And she was like, no, you need to get going. He said, no, I will use my electric, my stove, my kerosene stove, which was a joke, really. But, Andrea, what is the cause of this increased electricity bill all over the world, not just in Nigeria?
Yeah.
What's the cause of this?
There are many causes as of today, let's say, because there is a strange combination of political issues with wars that, of course, increases the cost of the gas due to the fact that there is a restriction on the gas production.
So the Ukraine war,
yeah, definitely.
That's a big one.
Correct, because till today, 2 years ago, let's say, there was a nice combination between Europe and Russia, and let's say there was the supply, the function of gas was coming mostly from Russia. From a moment, let's say, when the war started to more than 2 years ago, there was the scenario completely changed.
Yes.
And, from one day to the other, let's say the cost of the gas increases so much.
Yeah.
At the same time, there is a nice combination because, let's say, all the main countries in Europe, for instance, but also in the USA, all the Western European countries, let's say, they counted very much on the renewable energies. And this was a nice combination because not so nice indeed, but let's say a strange combination because renewable energies, they require huge investments. And this huge investment has an impact on our bills.
Yes.
It's this strange combination of a high cost of gas and at the meantime, the high cost of investment in terms of capex for this renewable energy was a very particular combination that brought to, let's say, a very high increase of cost of the bills.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I hope that made sense to you all. So we're having that, that combination of the war in Russia with Ukraine, creating the distortion and causing supply issues.
Yeah.
And now, for us to rely on the alternative, the investments are still too high because they have to be depreciated
Correct.
over time. For them.
Definitely.
But, Andrea, Nigeria is not at war. Nigeria is a gas-producing nation. We actually have more reserves in gas than in oil, in crude. Why are we susceptible to this as a country?
Yeah, completely correct, let's say. Because one of the main issues of Nigeria, which is my second country, as a matter of fact, I'm Italian, but I spent so much time. I arrived in 2006 here in Nigeria, and I was responsible. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
There is one main issue that, let's say, we have to take in due consideration, that there is a situation of very big vandalism on the network. And
vandalism?
Vandalism. Yes, very high.
Is that what we're paying for?
Yeah, definitely. Let's say what the efficiency of PHCN, let's say most of the time is due, let's say, to the fact that this vandalism is very, very high. Just this morning, for example, I was informed that there was a line in the northern western part, close to Shiro and so on, that was damaged.
Wow.
They cut the lines, and now we have to stop the transmission of energy, and we have to take care about it. This is unfortunately a very long habit, a very long situation that we are facing. And but it's I would say, one of the main problems that we are facing, let's say, as of today, for, let's say, this huge, indirect costs for the power.
Yes. Now, Andrea, can't government do something, in your opinion? What can any government that has this kind of challenge do to correct this?
We would appreciate very much if the government can do something at this regard. Security is an issue. Also, consider that also for our engineers and technicians, for instance, to move in the northern part of the country is not safe.
Security.
Is not secured, and most of the time also with security and bodyguards, we are not allowed to go there. So you consider that is a big restriction because we have to rely on reports made by someone else and work on them. This is a very, very big challenge for us because if you touch the problem and you work on it day by day, you can do something. If you have to rely on reports made by someone else, maybe we have to rely on someone else.
Yes. And that means it takes longer.
Correct.
You may not even have the right equipment because you did not get the right assessment.
Correct.
And you can't even get there. That is such a big, big, big problem. But I wanted to ask you this, your opinion, because you're an expert in this field. Now, since I can remember, I spent a lot of time in the US, and since I've been back, at least, let's say since we went into democratic dispensation in Nigeria, we've seen successive governments come to say they're investing in power. They're buying this and they're buying that and they're buying this. And by now, we probably should have, 2, 3, 4,000, not the megawatt, kilo, whatever, of power.
5 gigawatt installed, let's say. This is nothing for a country such as Nigeria with the 225 million inhabitants. It's nothing.
Yes. So why has those investments not profited us?
Yeah, I guess that one of the main issues was a question connected with maintenance, because all these equipment are very sophisticated. There is a very big technological contents in this equipment, transformers with gears and so on. So it's extremely important to understand that all this equipment cannot be installed only and forget. We have to take care about them every day with the teams and the people that are duly skilled from a technical point of view to take care of the maintenance. Maintenance is an issue. It's the golden suggestion that I would like to give to any government. Maintenance is the top.
Maintenance is the top. Maintenance. Now, there's a lot that's been said, Andrea, about solar power.
Yes.
You can do solar, there is wind.
Nigeria is the country of the sun. Let's say we have to exploit it as much as we can.
But it's so expensive.
Yeah. As of today, let's say it's still expensive, but with the new technologies, let's say this cost will go down, more and more down, let's say, as a matter of fact. Let us consider that only 20 years ago, the efficiency of a panel was between 15-16% in terms of efficiency. It means that if 100 watt is coming to the solar panel, only 16 of these 100, 16, 17 can be utilized.
Oh, really?
Nowadays, let's say with the new generation of solar power, we can also nearly double this value.
Oh, wow.
And step by step, let's say with the double phase solar panel, for instance, or with the new technology using different materials. Materials are very important. Mm-hmm. Materials will be the main issue for the next coming 20, 30 years because they are extremely important for the production of the solar panel. If you consider that, let's say, some rare metals such as lithium, cobaltum, manganese, nickel, and so on, there is a concentration of production on it. Every country has to take care about it to have a reserve of these precious materials.
Yes.
It's extremely important to take note about it.
Yes.
And let's say it is an invitation to the government to be very sensitive on this issue, the control also of these materials, because this will be the gold for the next coming 20, 30 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And Andrea, we will take a break. But before we go, let me put the question that I wanted to bring, which you just alluded to, which is Nigeria is so blessed with not just human resources.
Sure.
We have natural resources.
Definitely.
Everything that you could possibly need, we've got. We've got copper, we've got this, we've got zinc, we've got all these natural resources. How can we tap into those resources? And not just government, individuals. Okay? So we're going to come back. We're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Castellini in just a moment. Stay with us. Stay with us. All right. Thank you. If you're just joining us on the show today, my guest today is Dr. Andrea Castellini. He is an expert, truly knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable on the whole issue of power. And we are looking at what the issues are concerning Nigeria and us having steady power and dealing with the high costs, the tariffs for electricity. So, Andrea, before we went and took the break, we were talking about the issue of materials.
Yes.
Now, Nigeria is a blessed country.
Definitely.
So, what can the average individual that has maybe some money or wants to invest or do something to take advantage and tap into the resources that we have, what areas can we be looking at?
Yeah, let us consider one basic point. Let's say, I think that renewable energy that are the base of, let's say, the availability of energy, they will require a combination of investment between public investors, of course, that are the drivers, and let's say private investors.
Right.
This is a nice combination and a working combination that we have seen, let's say, very profitable all over the world. It means that renewable energies are mine if, let's say, duly managed, of course. There are a lot of opportunities here, I guess, in Nigeria because we have sun, a huge amount of sun.
Right.
Let's say wind, not so much compared with other countries, but let's say it can be also considered that, let's say, most of the energy coming from the wind is offshore. And this is a little bit, means a little bit more complicated to establish, let's say, a production like this in Nigeria. But solar is, let's say, is a mine of energy that's already available. Right. If you consider that in Germany, Germany is a country that as not the sun that they don't have so much, not as here in Nigeria, but they made most of the energy is produced through solar panels.
Are you serious?
Yes.
In Germany?
In serious. More than in Italy that we're coming from.
Wow.
Yes. In Italy, we are moving step by step. Consider that in Italy, we have a production of about close to 290 terawatt-hour per year, let's say. So it's very big in terms of consumption, and only a small portion, less than 10%, is from solar panel. Of course, there is a huge margin. Here in Nigeria, I guess that we have a mine, because solar here is, a never-ending mine.
Yes, it's a gold mine that doesn't end.
It. Correct. It has to be used. Let's say we are using, how hot it is in these days or during the year. Why do not use this amount of energy, let's say, to produce something important also for the population? Of course, starting with renewable energies is, in terms of capex, starting investment quite high. That's why a good combination between public investment and private investment has to be done. But I think that this is the way.
That's the way for government to create that opportunity for public and private to come in. And when we do that, the citizens should also be informed and get involved. I wanted to ask you this question, Andrea, as you were talking. When power is not available, how damaging is that to any economy?
It is huge. You cannot imagine, because it's a combination of disasters, let's say. For instance, not only for the basic production, productivity in offices and so on. We see when we don't have the air conditioning, we are stopped, we have moved, we are getting nervous and so on. But also you consider that in frigo, so that we have at home, for instance.
Yes.
What can we do? It's a disaster, let's say. You also, in terms of health, in terms for the population, because you cannot preserve the food in the proper way, is a huge disaster.
Huge health disaster. Nigerians need help. We need help. We need to make sure that we get our power situation under control. Now, I'm going to ask you this one question as we begin to round up this show, Andrea. There's been a lot of talk on transmission.
Yes.
That Nigeria, we had a lot of generating power, but we didn't have the transmission capacity. Has that changed right now?
Yeah, as of today, let's say we are working also in eliminating the drawbacks in the network. Moreover, with the project that I'm following directly, I mentioned directly, is the EMS and SCADA system. It means the energy management system. It's a system, it's the brain of the network. It means we have to control from remote the state, but not only control, also managing. You can manage, you can change the parameters, you optimize, let's say, the transmissions and so on, and reducing the cost. I come back, let's say, to a previous assumption. If you consider that in Nigeria, maybe that non-technical losses are much bigger than the technical losses, we are come back to the starting point.
Yeah,
the vandalism and so on. So we have to avoid that let's say, not technical losses will prevail. We can manage the technical losses. We can manage the network, we can control the network, we can control the substation, power station, and so on. This can be done.
Yeah.
This is a huge effort that we are doing now. Vandalism, unfortunately, vandalism is not under our control.
How sad that we, as a nation of so many, 200 million plus people, we continue to suffer because of vandalism. And I think this is a good point where we should call all our leaders political leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders. We all need to get involved in this to help in our areas where we know the groups of people that are vandalizing the infrastructure of the country. We need to get involved because everybody pays for the mistakes and the problems that are being caused. Thank you so very much, Andrea. We are out of time, but we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Andrea Castellani.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll go into the Ask segment. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, thank you so very much, audience in the studio, and for those of you at home. Now, we're going to take, I think, 1 or 2 questions. And as always, I'll send you to my friend, Mazi Prosper. Mazi, how are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you, Pastor Funke.
Awesome. Are you energized?
Yes. I think even the people in the studio, we are touched while our guest was speaking.
Yes.
We are touched because the pain of the vandalization was too much.
Yes,
Even,
it's a big problem.
It was a big problem. So,
big challenge.
Somebody on our audience online now asks a simple question that they heard you asking him, how can we curb this issue of vandalization, breaking up the pipes on the way? Is there any way government can come in and help in those?
Well, I mean, I did ask him, and I think he alluded to, to some of these issue of the insecurity, right? What vandalization happens where there is a whole lot of insecurity. Because if there was security in those areas, the police, the communities will get involved. Local police, So what we've got to do, I think we need government to take a stand on this, a stand on vandalization. We need the National Assembly to go ahead and possibly enact laws that's going to punish vandalism.
Yes.
We've got to deal with this issue.
Yeah.
We've got to deal with this issue, right? One human being cannot come in and disrupt the lives of people. And if we do not get it, we're all going to pay for it together. Everybody will say, oh, it's just these guys or these guys. But we've got to get them to see that government cannot put roads in place and you just go and dig it up. Government cannot put pipelines in place and you just go and dig it up. We need policies, because otherwise, in 20 years, may we not still be talking about this issue. It's very sad.
Yeah, okay, Pastor Funke, thank you. Can you explain something better? I think somebody else with what you're saying popped up a question and said, please, Pastor Funke, can you help me differentiate between purpose and gift? Because a lot of people are confused about it. I think that's part of the thing too that make people to vandalize.
Well, people, I'm not sure. I think it's just, honestly, I've come to believe that, sometimes poverty may affect people and things like that, but a lot of it is just, a lack of good moral values that cause this. Now, purpose and gifts. Now, your giftings from God are those things that God puts He puts the oil upon you to do, right? It gives you extra ability in it. You have ease doing it. You're able to do it without too much of an effort. You've been graced for it. Those are your gifts. Now, the purpose is, what are your gifts for? Now, you can be given an oil upon you, for example, like yourself, you are graced to make people laugh. It's a gift. It's a gift, right? Now, you can decide to use it for other things than the purpose for which God gave that to you.
It's true.
Right? So you could do it, you're doing yours for God.
Yes, ma'am.
There are some people that would use the same gift that they've been oiled for to work for the world and to do other things and work in clubs and do all these other things. So that's the difference.
Wow.
So the gift is the ability, the purpose is what you do it for. Now, so what should you do? You should ask God, this gift that I have, how should I use it for your glory?
Wow. Wow.
All right, so this is where we're going to draw the curtain on today's show. I thank you so very much for joining us, and I'm so grateful to my guest, my good friend, Dr. Andrea Castellani, who of the CESI, a wonderful company. They're doing great things here. And I'm grateful to all of our amazing audience. Thank you. Thank you so much.